Imagine a future in which the social role of firemen is not to extinguish fires, but to ignite them in a zealous campaign of book burning. This is the central conceit of Ray Bradbury's 1953 science fiction classic, Fahrenheit 451, published in this edition by the Folio Society in 2011. Removing the book from its plain black slipcase, we find a volume bound in grey buckram. The front board is printed with a red and black design by the illustrator featuring a suitably dystopian fireman, complete with Wehrmacht-style helmet. The title and author's name are blocked in the same colour scheme on the spine. The end papers are red and the binding is sewn with red and black head and tail bands. Overall, I'd say the design comes together nicely as a fitting modern presentation for this volume. It should come as no great surprise that the text is printed on Folio Society's regular Abbey wove paper. As usual, that means the paper is acid-free, smooth, matte, and has good though not perfect opacity. The text is Adobe Caslon, with the display and page numbers set in a face called Railroad Gothic. There's little about the typographical design that stands out, but being a fairly standard Folio Society presentation is by no means a bad thing. Full-page illustrations are furnished by Sam Weber. There are 6 in total, including the frontispiece. By modern standards, this represents a fairly generous offering for a book of only 152 pages. The style is realist, with a fairly literal interpretation of scenes from the book, but several of the images have a slightly unsettling surreal undertone that reflects the light science fiction elements of the story. The execution of the images is excellent, and the realist style lends a certain polish to the presentation. My one wish would be for an extra image or two that pulled back from the tight focus on characters to show the wider context of the world they inhabit. The story takes place in a dystopian America whose society has turned its back on books, employing firemen to oversee their destruction. It's an interesting collision of Huxley and Orwell. People are too absorbed by baser forms of entertainment to much care for books, but the state burns them anyway just for good measure. This contrivance certainly makes for a good elevator pitch and left me excited to read the book. I couldn't help but feel, though, that the 152-page length was a bit of an unhappy middle ground. Too long to get quickly to the point, but too short to fully develop the potential of the main idea. The book contains an author's introduction and an exclusive introduction to the Folio Society edition penned by Michael Moorcock. The former offers a nice account of the book's genesis, while the latter does a good job of setting the novel in its literary context and picking out some interesting developments in later adaptations of the work for the stage.